My name is Sara Lecompte Cuvelier. I am the general manager of Chateau Leoville Poyferre, Chateau Moulin-Riche, and also Chateau le Crock. And in fact, I joined the estate, family estate, in 2018, and at the same time, I used to be involved in the family estates since the beginning of the 2000s. In fact, before this job, I used to work as a human resource manager in Lyon, not far from the Alps. And at the same time, I used to come every 3 times a year to Bordeaux to attend to the board of directors. And so little by little, I began to get more interested in this subject. And because my cousin DJ Cuvelier got retired in 2018, and there was nobody in the family who wanted to take over, I had this project with my husband and my family to move from Lyon to Bordeaux, and also to go back to university to have a training in this subject.
Okay, so it's rather recent that you've been running the properties. You said since 2018, right?
Right, but at the same time, it will be in a few months. It will be 4 years that I am in Bordeaux and managing the chateau. So time is going very, very fast, and so I can't realize it's already 4 years.
Yeah, it goes fast. Why don't we start? Let's start in chronological order. So we'll start. Well, actually, let's give us a little bit of background on the Cuvelier family, because the Cuvelier family has been in Bordeaux for quite some time. They're chateau owners, but they're also involved in the commercial side, on the négociant side. So tell us a little bit about the history of the family, and then we can kind of get into each of the properties.
Yes, in fact, it was my great grandfather, Henri Cuvelier, who created a wine merchant company in north of France. It's au Bourdon, next to Lille. It was in 1804. And so for 100 years, they just used to buy wine in Bordeaux and sell them to the people living in north of France, and also to Belgian people and to English people. And in 1903, they decided to buy the first chateau in the family, Chateau le Crock in Saint-Estèphe. So Chateau le Crock is 32 hectares. And then they bought Chateau de Camassac, which was sold in the 60s, but it was in my family for 50 years. And then they bought Chateau Leoville Poyferre and Chateau Moulin-Riche in 1920. They were born in Bordeaux, so their origins are from the north of France, but the new branch moved to Bordeaux to create more business in Bordeaux.
Okay. So let's go back to Chateau le Crock then, because you said that was the first property that they purchased in Bordeaux, right? In Saint-Estèphe?
Right.
So tell us a little bit about this property, because I think a lot of people are very familiar with Leoville Poyferre, especially very recently, since you guys were number 7 on the top Wine Spectator list with Leoville Poyferre. But Chateau le Crock is a little bit more, I would say, of an undiscovered gem in the world of the Grand Vin in Bordeaux. So tell us a little bit about this property and what makes it special.
Yes, in fact, Chateau le Crock wasn't classified in 1855, but has been classified in 2020 as a Cru Bourgeois exceptionnel. The property has 32 hectares. We produce 2 wines, so Chateau le Crock and also Chateau la Croix, which is the second wine. We have 18 employees. We work with I will explain later, but quite in the most organic way we can today. It's not totally organic, but part of the vineyard is worked like that. And also, we have been Cru Bourgeois since the first classification of Cru Bourgeois in 1932. And also, after that, between 2003 and 2020, in fact, the classification was a bit different. In fact, you had to prove every year that you can be a Cru Bourgeois. And now the new classification was made for 5 years, sorry. And also with a new way of classification with 3 different levels. So you have about 250 Cru Bourgeois in the Médoc au Médoc. And so it was difficult for people to understand the differences between each Cru Bourgeois. There was a new classification with distinction between levels. And so the first criteria was the quality of the wine. So you have to apply for this classification. We presented 5 different vintages. They were tasted, blind tested. And after that, if we had the enough good level, high level enough to be Cru Bourgeois exceptionnel, we had a second level of selection. We had a kind of visit, audit by a specific organization, and they came to the property to visit everything, to see the vineyard, to see the vats, to see the cellar, and also the places we can welcome visitors for wine tourism. And after that, they decided, I think it was 1 year later, and they classified 14 Cru Bourgeois exceptionnel of the 2050 Cru Bourgeois in the total. So about Chateau le Crock, in fact, we have a specific. In fact, I could say that I have a special link with Chateau le Crock because it's really the place where a big part of my family used to spend holidays. During the Second World War, part of my family came to Bordeaux from Lille to live in the chateau. And it's also an explanation why we decided to install electricity everywhere in the chateau. In fact, we can be 22 or 24 people inside. There are many rooms inside. We don't. We can welcome some journalists, but it's not really a hotel, you see. So it's we keep it for the family. We have had of many weddings of cousins or my aunts. They are married in the chateau. We are going to have next September a young girl called Adele Kwan. She's going to get married in the chateau. So it's a really nice place to live and to have holidays. So in fact, I have a special link with the chateau because I spent all my holidays there, and now with my own family, my husband, my children. And also, what else can I say? It's a specific area in Saint-Estève because we are just on the top of Marbuzet. It's a very little hill, and we have a perfect view from the terrace on Château Casse-d'Estournel, and on the other side, a perfect view to Château Montrose and Château Marbuzet. So we have a very high quality terroir with gravel and sand, and the middle age of the plots is about 43 years old. So we are quite high quality plots with 4 different vine varieties, a majority of Cabernet Sauvignon, and about 60%, 30% of Cabernet, 60% of Cabernet Sauvignon, 30% of Merlot, and the rest, the difference between Petit Verdot and Cabernet Franc.
Okay, and are all the vineyards, all the vines are in one plot? I was explaining before you disconnected that on this map, it's a little small, but you can see that Chateau le Crock is number 11. And I was saying exactly what you mentioned between Casse-d'Estournel and Chateau Montrose. Are they all in one plot in that area, or are they spread out a little bit throughout the appellation?
No, I think it's a good point for us, and it's exactly the same for Chateau Leoville Poyferre and Chateau Mont-la-Riche. Because of the history, we have a few plots at different places in the appellation, not too far, not more than perhaps 1 kilometer, but it helps us to have a more different kind of soil, so different aromas in the wines. And also when there is a risk of hail or risk of frost, it divides the risk
Right.
if everything is not at the same place, and exactly the same for Leoville Poyferre. So it's quite an advantage for us, even if it would be perhaps easier to work for the tractors and everything, for the harvesters to stay at the same place in one time. Harvesters have to work a little bit to change the plots when they go to harvest.
That makes sense. So now let's jump down to Leoville Poyferre, which, as I was mentioning before it disconnected, so Chateau le Crock in Saint-Estèphe, not very far away. In between, you have the Pauillac appellation, and just south of Pauillac, you have Saint-Julien, where you find Leoville Poyferre. And I just brought up a map here. It's a little hard to see, but the green plots are Leoville Poyferre, the yellow Leoville Lascaz, the lighter red Chateau Latour, because the Pauillac appellation is right up against Saint-Julien. But I'll let you present Chateau Leoville Poyferre and the vineyards.
Okay, so Chateau Leoville Poyferre was bought in 1920. And it was the history of Leoville was there was only one Leoville before the French Revolution, and after the Revolution, and due to legacies and specific history of the vineyards, the estate was divided into three parts. In fact, today we still have the Chateau Leoville Barton with the Barton family since 1826. And then you had this separation between Leoville Lascaz and Leoville Poyferre in 1840. We bought the estate to the family Touton, and we have 80 hectares. And in these 80 hectares, there are 20 hectares specific for the Chateau Moulin-Riche with it's a specific area in the vineyard on the northwest of Saint-Julien. We have 5 different places for the plots, and for exactly the same than for Chateau le Crock. In fact, we have different kinds of soils. A part of our plots are next to the river, to the Gironde. For both chateaux, we are about 1 kilometer between 1 kilometer and 800 meters from the river. It's quite very useful for us because it can help us to be protected from the hail and from the frost, and also in summer from the too much heat thanks to the river. We have 55 employees in Chateau Leoville Poyferre. A big team for the vineyard, 22 people, and also a team for the cellar, 8 people. We have a team for the wine tourism. My sister, she has two guides, one American, Laurie, and also one Chinese, Jamin. And we also hire for the season two other people to help for the visits. Last summer, we were open to public from Monday to Sunday, all July and August. It's quite unusual in Bordeaux. You don't have so many chateaux and classified growth estates who are open for all summer. Yeah, we have a real sense of welcoming people. In fact, it's kind of part of our personality in Chateau Leoville Poyferre and so Chateau le Crock. Usually people say that they feel welcome when they arrive because perhaps it's due to our origin from north of France, and people say that people coming from north of France like to meet people. So it's one thing we wanted to develop. We began in 2005 with a new reception room, and also a shop to welcome visitors.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I think it's great. Historically, Bordeaux hasn't always been, flexible with visitors, and we definitely see it more and more. I can't believe you guys are open in the summer. That's that's definitely great.
Yes, that's right.
Tell us a little bit. I know you have quite a bit going on at the property. I mean, you've been there for 4 years, but it sounds like you have a lot of projects and you're working on a lot of things. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the changes you're making at Leoville Poyferre and kind of what you're looking at in the future at the property?
Yes, in fact, the first changes I began with, it was when I arrived. In fact, I took over after my cousin in 2018, but I joined the estate in 2017 to learn everything about the wine. And so the first thing I realized I could improve. In fact, everything was done for not everything, but many things were already done for the quality of the wine. And so, but we had still improvements possible to make with communication. So we decided to work on the website, on Instagram, Facebook, social medias. And also we decided to renew all the range of labels. And so we decided to create officially a second wine for Moulin Riche. So we renewed all the labels from also for Leoville Poyferre. It's a little bit different now. And all these changes came in for the vintage 2018. So now the label of Moulin Riche is the same than for Leoville Poyferre, but it's brown. It's written in yellow, and it's a brown label. And after that, what I can say is that my cousin began in 2016 to go in the direction of more sustainable agriculture. And so we joined a group in Bordeaux called what you can say. We have a certification of high HVE3. It means haute valeur environnementale. In fact, it proves that you try to. You can see Jonathan in Chateau le Crock with a horse. So we, for example, 2 years ago, we decided to work in the young plots with when we plant new vine plants. We work with a horse, with 2 horses. They don't belong to us, but it's somebody specialized in agriculture with horses, and he comes in springtime to what we say to open ouvrir les camions. It means open the ground to help the soil to get warmer, and then the vegetation is growing. So we use the horses for the Chateau le Crock and also for Chateau Leoville Poyferre, and we have reduced all the treatment products. In fact, you can see the soil on the picture. We have been stopping the weed killers a very, very long time ago, and now we only use tractors to remove the weed. And also we decide to let the vegetation cover with kind of cereals to let the soil cover during winter, so that they can keep all its quality, and we can still work in the vineyard during winter. We don't use insecticides anymore for a long time. Also, we have sexual confusion, kind of caps, preventing the butterflies to meet themselves and to have a little pondre des œufs, in fact, to put eggs in the berries. Yeah. And so yet we have 30% of the vineyard in Saint-Estèphe and Sault-Saint-Julien, which is organic, but we are not in conversion. We don't have the possibility for the moment to have all the plots in organic, but it's a kind of objective we have each year to progress, in fact, in this kind of sustainable agriculture. And also in the cellar, we did a big work of improvements to have less and less sulfur in the final wine. And so when we do the harvest, we don't put sulfur anymore. We have another kind of yeast, in fact, which can protect the wine without putting sulfur. We also just tell me about the time. I don't check if I can still
No, you're okay.
Talk. Okay, I don't want to be too long. And so also I come back to the vineyard, but for the harvest also we use aerial view. We can have photos from the sky to see how is the health of the vineyard. And so we can divide the plots in smaller places, and depending on the color of the vegetation, we can check which health it is, and we decide where we begin the harvest, which zone is going to have to start, or to wait, sorry. And so we get more precision, in fact, in the choice we do when we go to harvest, because it's very important to harvest each plot at perfect maturity. And also we have how do you say, cold rooms to stock the crates of berries, and so that we can do the sorting with the optical sorting 1 day later after harvesting, and it's easier to sort and keep only the best quality berries to go to the vats. I have many other things to tell, but my English is
you can't
poor,
tell us all
so
of the secret.
And so I have to, in fact, I don't travel anymore, and so I don't practice English very often, and so I'm so sorry for you.
No, you're great. You're
so
great. No, it's fantastic. I just had a question, actually. I find it very interesting that the aerial view that you get of the vineyard. So are you basically using that year round to judge, maybe what plots need more attention, and then you use it later at harvest to kind of pinpoint what plots to harvest first? So is this something you use year round?
In fact, I'm not sure I understand well your question, but what I can say is that the cellar master and the vineyard manager and the winemaker, the oenologue Isabelle, had already they had already understood that there were really big differences depending on places in the plots. And thanks to these views from the sky, they can have the proof that they were right, and so go further in the decision of découper, in fact, cutting in smaller places each part of plots, and to do the vinification separately. So we don't put all one plot in all one vats. That's what we used to do before. Now we can divide, and we can choose, depending on the quality of each part of the plot, which one is going to go become to Leoville Poyferre, which is going to become a second wine, so Pavillon de Leoville Poyferre, and it's not the same level. And so it gives us the opportunity to improve the quality of the Grand Vin.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. Speaking of Pavillon, we haven't really spoken about it. Can you give us a few words? So the property Leoville Poyferre, you have Moulin Riche as well, but the ones we're focusing on today are Chateau Leoville Poyferre and Pavillon, which is the second wine. We have this picture here that is, if you could say a few words about that too, just the special label that you have for this specific vintage. But tell us a little bit about the difference between the two wines, how it's decided, and then a few words about the label.
Yes, in fact, we really have two first wines, so Leoville Poyferre and Moulin Riche, and each one has its own second wine. So Pavillon de Leoville Poyferre is the second wine of Leoville Poyferre, and we have a second wine for Moulin Riche called M de Moulin Riche. And so Moulin Riche is a specific area of 20 hectares with a large proportion of Petit Verdot. So you can, in the final blend of Moulin Riche and M de Moulin Riche, you can have 10% or 15%, or M de Moulin Riche 18 was I think 69% of Petit Verdot. So it's a very specific wine. And for Leoville Poyferre and Pavillon, you also have a little part of Petit Verdot, but you also have Cabernet Franc. You don't have Cabernet Franc on Moulin Riche. And you have also, of course, Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. When you drink Pavillon de Leoville Poyferre is like, I think, all second wines in Bordeaux. They are made with younger plots and it's more fruity wine, less wood, less new oak wood in the aging time. So aging is shorter and with less new oak barrels, sorry. And so it gives less structure. You have more fruits. You don't have too much time to wait to open the bottle. For example, if I wanted to open a Pavillon tonight, perhaps I would choose Pavillon 15 or 16 or 17 also. But if I want to open Leoville Poyferre, it would be better to take older vintage. So it's quite complementary, and also about the price. In fact, Pavillon Leoville Poyferre is not the same price. It's easier to buy for everyday wine. In fact,
that's true. Yeah, I think we currently have the 16 vintage on Pavillon. We have some 18 as well coming in, and Leoville Poyferre, as usual, we like to keep different vintages. So we have multiple vintages of Poyferre. Can you tell us just a few words about, this is not what people are used to seeing for Leoville Poyferre. Usually it's, let's see if I can pull up this label. But can you give us just a few words about this?
Yes. We are quite very happy and proud with this battle. In fact, the first thing my cousin Didier told me when I began to work with him in 2017, he told me that you will have to celebrate the centenary, the anniversary of the family. And so I think it was a great opportunity for us because, thanks to the COVID, in fact, we couldn't do everything we had planned to in 2020. We had planned to come to New York on the 8th of June 2020. We had to go to London and to Asia, Peking, Shanghai. And so we couldn't do anything of this. The only thing we had time to do was to imagine a new bottle specific for 2020. We had time to do the website. We had time to do the labels. And so we were quite free to imagine all these new new images. And so we wanted to represent the terroir, in fact, the plots, the vineyards on the bottle, because it was really obvious for everybody in the chateau that if we produce so good wine, it's of course thanks to the team, thanks to the work everybody does every day. But the first reason, and I think the most important reason, is the terroir. And you can do everything you want if you don't have the great terroir. You will never do a great wine. If you have a great terroir and you don't work very well, perhaps you won't have a very good wine. But the first condition is the terroir. So that's what we wanted to represent on this bottle. So we are very impatient to see the production of the bottle. It's going to be ready soon. We are going to do the bottling next June. And then in New York, we have planned to come to New York at the end of October to present the bottle.
Well, we look forward to having you here. It's a beautiful label. It's 2020 vintage only to celebrate the 100 years of the Cuvelier family owning Chateau Leoville Poyferre. I think we're just about wrapping up on time, but I wanted to end by, of course, congratulating you on the number 7 wine on the Wine Spectator list. It was very exciting to see you guys there. We sold out of what we had, unfortunately, but it's really a testament to the beautiful wines that you guys produce and all the hard work that goes into it. So congratulations on that. And thank you again so much, Sara. And we look forward to having you here in the States sometime soon.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.